Okay, YouTube, if you're watching live on Thursday, November 16th, God bless you. I see you there. Look in the chat. Love for you to join me over here on Zoom. There's a Zoom link, and it's an exclusive link. If you come join me after the podcast episode is over, we'll talk about it. Love to hear your thoughts on what we get into today. Have a greater conversation about this subject matter and what it looks like in your life. So look in the chat. Click on the Zoom link and join me over here. I'll stick around after the episode for a little while and talk with anybody who happens to join me. So I hope that's you. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Increase Your Business with Blake Anderson. We are about to embark on episode 44. God bless you all who've been joining me. If you didn't know, you can now find us on Spotify, and you can find us on Apple Podcasts as well as here on YouTube. So look for us on Spotify. Look for us on Apple Podcasts. Increase Your Business with Blake Anderson. Subscribe. Take those episodes wherever you go. It really helps me if you click the subscribe link. Click a like. Comment below. Let me know how this impacts you. So I got a question for you. Do you ever wonder why some leaders get better results than others? Have you ever been on a team of talented people that still can't seem to win? Why do some projects stall out or others seem to just go in circles? Have you ever seen a team members who on one project seem to knock it out of the park, but then on the other seem to flounder? Well, in this episode, I'm going to talk about how good leaders get great results. And there's one particular reason that we're really going to dive into. I don't know about you, but I've worked around lots of leaders. A lot of mediocre leaders, a lot of leaders in title alone, a lot of leaders that had authority but no influence, and just a couple really great leaders and a few good ones. And I've noticed amongst all the leaders that I've been worked with, whether they worked under me or they worked above me, there seemed to be something that the leaders who got the best results did better than anyone else. And there's a lot of things, right? Leadership is not just about charisma, though it is about influence, but there's a particular thing that starts every great project off, that a good leader continues to use this tool in his tool belt to keep the team moving towards the result. And that's what I want to get into today, how good leaders to get great results. Now, I hope that everybody watching this aspires to be a great leader. I hope that you aspire to be the kind of leader that people will trust, that people will follow, that people will trust you with their results and their livelihoods. But you don't have to be a great leader. You don't have to be the best communicator or the best speaker to still get great results. There's a few things that if you know to do and you do in the right order and you do just right, that you can get great results. And I want to talk about the thing that I think comes number one, the first thing when doing anything as a team. So I want to read you this quote by Elon Musk. Clearly a guy, I think, a modern day, we think we associate with success, we associate with progress, we associate with change. Clearly he's a leader. You can't lead the size of organizations that he does and have the success that those organizations have if you're a poor leader. And Elon Musk says this: people work better when they know what the goal is and why. I'll read that again. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. You know, this seems so obvious, right? If you're going to do anything, you better know what the goal is. And, you know, if you decide that you want something, you have a reason why you want that. But I'm going to tell you, this is the step that so many leaders go right over. This is the basic fundamental step of leadership and project management that many leaders run right past. There's way too much assumption with this step when they skip it, and it wreaks all kinds of havoc in companies, in projects, and in teams. And I want to put an emphasis on it, and by the end, I want to teach you how to use it to your advantage, so that even if you don't consider yourself a great leader, you can still get great results. So how is this possible, Blake? You say it's so fundamental, but haven't you been on a team where a leader seemed to assign you tasks, but never took the time to tell you why you're doing them? Maybe gave you a list of a scope of a project, but never really knew what you were trying to accomplish? Had too many leaders who just said, because I said so? I mean, come on, how motivating is because I said so, right? So problem happens when the leader doesn't take the time to communicate what the true goal is and why. They just go straight into the scope. This is what we're going to do. I want you to just accomplish these lists of things because I said so, as fast as you can. Oftentimes, a leader might give a clear expectation of what they want done, but they don't give the clear reason behind it. So what happens if you have just given someone to do, but you haven't shared with them the goal, and you haven't shared with them why you're even doing it? Well, you're going to have a team that's going to lack context. You're going to have a team that's going to lack motivation, and you're likely not to have any alignment in the team and in the business that you're working in. Very common that when a team doesn't know what the goal is and doesn't know why they're doing what they're doing, they're going to hit obstacles and challenges that's going to completely stop their progress, and they're going to stall out. You'll likely get people who will quit, good people who will quit your team for the sheer fact that they aren't connected to the mission. They don't have a reason to push through the hard times. You ever heard that quote? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Well, the tough get going because they've committed to a result. They know what they're after, and they know why they're after it. There's a couple famous quotes that really speak to this importance of telling people what your goal is and why you're doing it. John Maxwell says that vision gives team members direction and confidence. So what happens if you don't give the vision to your team members? Well, you should probably expect that they won't have the direction that they need, and they won't have the confidence to do what you've asked them to do. How would you like to know that your people are spending time spinning their wheels because they're not confident about what they're doing? And many of you think that because you told them what to do, that should be enough. Yogi Berra says, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up somewhere else. Isn't that so true? How would you love to know that your people took your instructions and ended up somewhere else? I love what Keith Cunningham says. He says, there's nothing worse than running enthusiastically in the wrong direction. You see, if you don't define success, if you don't paint the picture of what the goal looks like, and you don't provide the context of the why to get there, your people will be those that Keith Cunningham's saying, when you leave the meeting, they will start running enthusiastically in the wrong direction. You know, the Bible speaks of this. Proverbs 29:18 says that where there is no vision, the people perish. Now, this verse isn't talking about eyesight, and the verse isn't talking about dying. The verse is saying when there's no vision, when there's no insight, when there's no prophetic vision, when we don't have a goal, then the people are going to wander astray. Isn't that so true? So how can you be bad at your people when they've wandered astray or come up with an idea or a result you weren't expecting if you didn't take the time to give them the vision? If you didn't show them what the goal line, where the goal line was, or define what success really is. There's a couple other things that happens when a leader doesn't define success. It's very often a leader will jump to a conclusion on their own, not take the time to tell their team, just expect their team to execute because they said so, and think about all the valuable input that they are missing from their team. You see, if you're a leader and you've formed a team of people, I hope that you've brought expert people to your team. I hope that you're not the smartest person in a room on everything that team has to accomplish. I hope you've created a great team that's invited people with complementary skill sets who are good at things that you're not, who love to do things that you don't. And if that is really true about the team that you've created, then wouldn't you maybe need their input on how to properly define success? I mean, a leader must cast the vision, but a leader needs to rely on the input from their team to clarify what that goal should look like, to really bring clarity to how that's going to be fulfilled. Otherwise, a leader might be jumping to a conclusion, signing the team up for something that they can't commit to. How fair is that to your team when you decide that we're going to do this and you haven't even taken the time to realize that you're underprepared or you're under-resourced to even accomplish it? Another thing that happens when a leader doesn't define success well is there's often mission creep, or you see a team that seems to be running in circles. You ever been on an organization where it seemed like any flashy, shiny idea seemed to get the leader or someone in the team moving another direction? And before you could ever get momentum and traction in something, we just keep chasing all these other opportunities and you never seem to go anywhere. You know, the saddest thing is when you see passionate people, talented people together who never get any real traction or momentum towards anything. They have too many good ideas to ever pursue a great idea. Let me say that again. The sad thing is when a team has too many good ideas and never pursues a great idea. See, when you haven't clearly defined what the goal is and you don't know why you even want to get there, then we'll be doing what Yogi Berra says, because we don't know where we're going, we continue to end up somewhere else. And years can go by, and the results always be not enough. Success always be just out of reach. And there'll always be some excuse on why you never got there. But it's really a simple step that you're skipping over. If you're the leader who's worked too hard for not enough results, then listen up. If you're the leader who feels like you've got a talented team, but you can't quite seem to hit your deadlines, then listen up. If you're the leader who struggles to keep people engaged, then listen up. You might be missing a very simple step that completely change your results. And what's that simple step? We've been saying it all along. Well, Simon Sinek says that you would start with why. And in our project management framework, we would say that step number one is that you want to define success. Before you do anything else, you want to define success. You want everyone to know, what are we trying to accomplish? And in so defining success, you want everyone on the team to know why we feel like that's successful. Why do we want to achieve this goal? What good will it bring? Give them a context for it. Most people are skipping that in their communication. Oftentimes, if you're a leader, you've defined it in your head, but you haven't communicated that to your team. And so when you don't communicate that to your team, you normally jump straight to the second step of a project, is when you clarify the scope. You list all the things that need to be done. But see, your people don't have a context for those steps. And your people aren't necessarily motivated to see them achieve, because they don't really know what those steps are going to accomplish. And they don't know why they should even want to accomplish them in the first place. So step number one, define success. And then after you define success, everything else that the team does must serve that definition. Let me say that again. When you clearly define success, when you know what the goal is and why you want it, everything else should serve that definition. That definition clarifies and establishes all the things that will have to be done to get us there. That definition of success helps us create an accurate sequence of those things that we have to do to get us there. That definition answers the question of whether we should pursue a new opportunity or not. That definition of success gives the marching orders to the team to know whether what they're doing is going to get us there. At any point in time, everyone should be able to ask themselves, what is our definition of success? And is what I'm doing right now going to get us there? Is taking time to go to this meeting going to help me achieve that definition of success? Is this phone call going to get me there? Is an extra meeting with an outside consultant going to get me there? Do I need to hire someone else? Am I understaffed? Am I overstaffed? Do I need more software? Do I need more process? You can't answer any of those questions until you've taken the time to define success, and your people on your team can't answer their questions unless they know what success looks like. Now, here's the great thing. There's too many leaders that complain that their people can't make decisions without them. There's too many leaders that feel like they've got to do the job for their team. I've seen very talented people inhabit very mediocre teams, and the leader was one step away from tapping into the talent of their team. Leaders need to empower their people. You brought them on your team for a reason. If you empower them what the definition of success is, they understand the values of the company. Most of the questions they have for you have already been answered. They won't need you to make the decision for them because they can ask themselves very simply, will this accomplish the goal that we have created? You see, you don't just define success one time. You continue to repeat it and affirm it over and over and over again with everything that you do. Now, if you really want to take this simple concept to the next level, let's add phase number 2 to defining success. Because in defining success, when we define what we want and why we want it, we're really getting at the motivation of the project, the motivation of the company, the motivation of the team. Now, the importance of identifying this goal and getting to the motivation is we're trying to ensure focus from everybody working on the team. We're trying to provide them context and therefore clarity for what we're doing. And we're trying to get alignment. Now, think about this. Why is alignment so important? I was talking with a friend of mine offline. If you own a business, how could it help your business if the janitor understood the mission of the organization? How could things change if everyone in the organization was trying to help the organization achieve its main goal? From the admins to the janitors to the mid-level managers to the finance department to the sales department. You see, oftentimes talented people are working on mediocre companies only because there's no alignment. Let's say that a different way. You can have a company full of talented people, but if you can't align them to the goal of the organization, you should not expect any more than mediocre results. So how can we get alignment to that goal? Well, first we define it. We tell people where we're going, what we want, why we want it. But then second, to really get the fullness of it, a leader's got to get to the motivation of everybody on the team. You see, when I can help my team members attach their personal motivation to what we're trying to accomplish, they're going to be so much more willing to do it. So I was talking with one of my team members earlier today, and we were talking about someone that they were leading who seems to have hit or miss on some of the results. And this is a person who works more than enough hours and is super committed to the company. But what we've noticed is this person's personal motivation is to take care of people. They don't want to let people down, and they want to help people in need. How's that sound? Sound like someone you'd want to hire? I know it's someone that I've been honored to have on my team, a commitment to serve. But even this person with this commitment to serve is missing deadlines. Even inside this person who doesn't want to let people down, is still not fully living up to the job responsibility. Now, how could that be when their motivation isn't even on themselves or on their money? Well, what we were talking about is how we can get their personal motivation aligned with the goal of the project that they're working on, aligned with the goal of the company, helping them understand that they can that motivation can help serve this greater goal. And really, their leader needed to realize, in order to get them to be excited about doing anything, they must show them how doing this thing will keep someone from being let down, how doing your job will help someone in need. Now, I know this person is so motivated to help someone in need. When they understand that just by doing their job, they're helping the next person who's in need of them doing their job, they're going to do a much better job. You see, there's multiple layers to this fundamental principal step of defining success. It's about getting to the heart of the motivation of what the company's about, the motivation of what the team's about, the motivation of what the project is about, and the motivation of all the people interacting with it. Because when we can create alignment where we're not doing things because our boss said so, but we're doing things because we want to, because we believe that our jobs give us an opportunity to live and express the gifts and our heart's desires, then there's no goal that we can't accomplish. I'm going to end with this. Napoleon Hill had a quote that says, "Desire is the starting point of all achievement." Desire is the starting point of all achievement. So you have these goals you want to accomplish. You have a business that you want to succeed. You have a product you want to sell. The starting point to the achievement of that goal and of that project is desire, is connecting your heart's motivation to the motivation of the project. But how can anyone connect their personal motivation to your company if they don't know where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish, and why you're trying to accomplish it? You might need to go back and write that again, listen to that again, write notes. This is a simple concept, but I'm going to tell you what, this is what allows good leaders to have great results. Because good leaders understand that their people need direction. Their people want to believe in what they're doing. Good leaders know that for their people to stay motivated, on task, even through the hard times, they've got to know what the goal is and why we're trying to do it. And good leaders know how to find the personal motivation of everyone they lead and connect it to their daily jobs, knowing when they understand that they can express their heart's desire through their role, that they're going to be committed and they're going to want to see the success of the project, of the team, and of the organization. So join us again on Increase Your Business. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, here on YouTube, wherever you're listening. God bless you. We'll see you at the next episode.